work that you're passionate about or work that you're good at and it's just, for the paycheck? Can you have both passionate or be passionate about your work and make a good living, whatever good means to you? I feel like it's the age old question that is always in question. And that's what I want to talk about in today's video because today I have a really full day of both work that I'm passionate about and work that I am in just for the paycheck right now. Again, I'm good at the work, but it's really not the work that I'm deeply passionate about. And this is a question that I had to really wrestle with after my corporate burnout when I left corporate leadership, went on a nearly 1 year sabbatical. It's a question that I really, really had to wrestle with, so much so that I wrote about it. If you heard that, I'm sorry. I think the garbage truck is out there. They're really loud. I feel like every time I get on here to record a video, there's always something going on. I'm recording this video really early this morning because, like I said, I have a very packed day today, but I am truly committed to showing up here every day for 100 days as I shared with you. Drinking my pomegranate tea there. So, the question, I wrote about this in my book, and I'm going to share some things that I touched on in here because I feel like I said, it's a question that is always out about in the world. Can you do work that you're passionate about and make a great living? Again, whatever that means for you. And to be honest, I'm still trying to figure that out. I will say that I am getting closer to yes, it is possible just by just getting clear on what my desires are, the type of work that I want to do. Again, as I said in previous videos, just getting really clear on redesigning my relationship with ambition, redesigning my relationship with capacity, rest, and creativity, just all of the things that I am discussing in these videos. And I felt like I really couldn't get to this place without having a crash out moment with the burnout. And while my career burnout was intense, it was a very high level. I was 60 pounds overweight. I was in constant anxiety. I was on two types of prescription anxiety medications just to be able to go to work. And the thing is, I was doing a good job at my work. I was exceeding expectations. I was good at my job, but the misalignment had become so strong that I just couldn't ignore it anymore. My body was screaming at me to like get us out of here. So I really had to listen and leave that job and really take some time off to get clear on how I wanted to work and live. And I feel like there's always this question around passion or paycheck. That's kind of how I'm phrasing it because I can speak for me, and I've also heard this same story from other women, particularly. We are raised to believe, you have to grow up and be in certain industries and certain job fields and certain sectors to be stable, to make good money. And we all believe that. I mean, I believed it. I went into the healthcare sector. I made great money. I did good work, but ultimately it landed me in extreme burnout, like life altering burnout. versus if I would have followed my creative passion and did something in the arts. I talk about it in my book, Release and Renew, but I also feel like, well, I know for sure, and let me know if you resonate with this, but sometimes the things that you're passionate about, you might not have examples around you that show you that doing this type of work in this type of field is sustainable. Like you can make money or make a good living or sustain yourself. I didn't have any examples around me at the time that showed me. That is so distracting, and I'm so sorry if you can hear that. I didn't have any examples around me at the time that showed me like you can have a career in the arts and make a good living. Like you always hear about like the starving artist, you know. So when I got to the point where it was time to make a decision about what am I going to do with my life, you know, in high school, deciding what your major is going to be in college, you take the secure route. And for me, I took healthcare. Let me know if you had this same question, you know, when you were growing up, or if you've been having these types of questions or thoughts lately around, can I really do what I desire, what I'm passionate about, and make great money, especially if it's outside of traditional like constructs. Keeping that in mind, I want to read a little bit from my book just to kind of give you like a bit of thought of just how this came up for me and how I am continuing to have to wrestle with this thought. So this is chapter 3, paycheck or passion. The roar of applause washed over my 6-year-old body as I stood on stage in my cute patent leather shoes and barrettes in my hair. My teacher called my name over the microphone as she remained behind the wood grain podium in the auditorium of my elementary school, which also doubled as a cafeteria. Several other children sat on small bleachers on stage. As I walked towards my teacher, I locked eyes with my mom, who sat in the audience. My nurturing and hardworking mother, reserved, soft, feminine, as she remains today. She looked back at me. She wore dark burgundy lipstick on her lips, which I remember vividly as a child because it blended so well with her peanut butter shaded skin. Her smile was filled with joy as she clapped enthusiastically for me. I was accepting an award for academic achievement on stage with several other classmates. After receiving the applause that followed from my mom, teacher, and other parents in the audience, this moment would be one of my first memorable indicators where it felt like value was tied to academic achievement. Again, so we are just brought up to believe, you know, this way. And again, I don't think my parents or my family was doing anything wrong. I mean, they were, especially, particularly people of color, they were living, you know, for survival and to pay bills and to be stable. They weren't, you know, looking for work as a means of joy, you know. So I completely get it. But that I just vividly remember that time, and it just goes back to the question, passion or paycheck. Like, I am a creative, like in my bone marrow. And it was something that my grandmother cultivated in me as a child. I would be doing all types of creative projects at my grandmother's house over the summer when I would go to her house after school, you know, waiting for my parents to pick me up after they got off work. And it was creativity was played all throughout my middle school years, my even my high school years, but getting to senior year and determining, should I go in a career for the arts, or should I go in healthcare or business, or something more stable. I chose to go into it, to go into healthcare. So I want to read just another quick insert. I can't help but wonder how my life, especially my work and career, would have turned out if my joy in creating art had been nurtured in my formative years, and if I had been encouraged to believe that financial stability was possible in being creative in the ways that brought me a level of joy. As I reflect, I don't have my glasses on. As I reflect, it felt as though I was brought up in an environment where I was influenced to believe that the choice related to my career was mine. However, the decision was already made for me. It was made by the society I grew up in, my family, and my inner overachiever to prove my value. And this is something too that I've recently been wrestling with as I build this business as a creative entrepreneur. I put this book out last year. I built a digital product around helping women who are ready to start reworking their relationship with ambition, and I do visual branding work on the side as well. So all of these ways that I'm using my creativity and making money, not making enough money to go full time yet, but I it's something, if I'm being vulnerable, that I'm still actively working through with my therapist, because I feel that God is really calling me in this season to use my creative gifts in a way to particularly help women who have a similar story to mine. And I don't want any blockages around me making money. And I mean like mental blockages around me making money doing something that I enjoy. Because I was recently having a conversation with a girlfriend, and I shared with her, and I shared this with my therapist too. It's like, the season where I made the most money, the biggest paycheck, the biggest bonuses, was in my corporate leadership job. And that was ultimately the job that I burnt out in. So like subconsciously, like I have this thought like, so is the only way that I can make a lot of money is if I'm like in a job that doesn't like really light me up. Now, don't get me wrong, I was good at the job, but the job just did not light me up in that way, and especially not long term. Of course, there were parts of the job that I really enjoyed. Leading the team is something that I really enjoyed, but the other elements of the job and how it became so misaligned, it just wouldn't be sustainable for a long-term season of joy. So I have like this battle like internally going on, like, is the only way that I can make a lot of money, or money where I can feel financially comfortable and be debt free, is doing a job that I really don't enjoy. I am rebuking that in the name of Jesus, but it is a thought that I have. And like I said, I am actively working through that with my therapist. So again, I have a full day today, which kind of led me to having this conversation, because I have my 9 to 5 work to do today. And then I have to meet in person with a client, one of my clients that I'm doing visual branding work with. So it's like, again, I'm in a season where I'm doing work to pay my mortgage, and I'm doing work on the side that I am growing and building, that I'm passionate about, and that makes money. And the goal is to do work full time that brings me joy and allows me financial freedom. If you can resonate with any of this, let me know. Let me also know if you're in a job where you are very passionate about it and you make a good living that is good for you. Let me know in the comments what that job is or what industry you're in. And let me know how long you've been doing the job. So, like I share in each video, I do have some questions for you to think about. And these questions are directly from the book because at the end of each chapter, I have reflections for you as the reader to reflect over your life and your situation and your seasons for deeper thought. So I'm going to read from here. So think about think about your path to your current career. For example, did you research this career and narrow it down from a group of potential selections? Did this career fall in your lap? Were you recruited for this current role? Or is this role just paying the bills until something better comes along? Now start your journaling considering the following questions. So these are the things I want you to reflect on. Is your current profession the career you desire? And again, I did a video a few videos back, if you've been watching, about the middle section and being in this middle season. And while you might be in this middle season can still be serve a purpose for the direction in what you're moving in. Also think about, are you doing the type of work that really lights you up, and why or why not? Is it a career, the current career that you're in, is it a career that your heart led you to or the world led you to? That means, is it something that you chose on your own, or that maybe your family or society or the world told you, I think you should go in this area, this is going to be stable, this is going to make you some money. And then I want you to think about what feelings come up when you think about your career. Are they positive, joyous feelings, or are they, resentful, get me out of here kind of feelings, or feelings like, this is just paying the bills for right now, and whatever they may be? It's just about awareness. And I'm a true believer in, once you become aware of something, that's when you can take action to move forward to whatever your desires may be. So I didn't have, any bullet points really today. I just kind of talked from my heart and referencing the book. But I just feel like that's a question that so many people, have to ponder with. And most of us, kind of come to this fork in the road, a little bit later in age, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm also a true believer in, you're never too old to start over. So let me know in the comments if this resonated with you, and that's where I'll stop today. I'm Erica Pavel. I share daily conversations helping ambitious women rework their relationship with ambition, capacity, rest, and creativity. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.